So what's your perspective on that?
To be honest, my full honest opinion is you probably won't make money because you lack capital. To make real money that'll actually change you, you have to take the risk. You can't be scared. If you're scared, then you're not actually going to pull the trigger. No, not at all. I'm not even 18 yet. I'll be 18 soon. And I've been able to meet many people that are very successful, and they don't view me any differently for being my age. You won't make money. I was foolish enough to buy one in 8th grade.
Sam, the whole point of the show is basically, advice for the young by the young. And you're basically actually like the perfect example of that. You've had a lot of success. You're pretty young, still in school, but you've been doing a lot of other things that we're definitely going to get into. So why don't we just get the ball rolling with the first question? So, most people our age, they think about money in like one of two ways. Either we're going to save it or we're going to spend it. But clearly, from like what you've been able to do, you think about it in a third way. So what would you say is different than what most people our age think about money?
Most kids don't think about their future a higher extent. They think about the present. But if you do think about the future, then you could then you focus on what's important. And if you multiply what you have right now, you wanna basically get I think it's very important that you focus on the future, because once you get out of high school, like it's real. Like it's not gonna. I know that from talking to many people that it's not everything set up for you. For some people it is, but to an extent, like you just need to know what to do after high school. If you could start early, it makes it much easier.
You're definitely right. A lot of people our age don't really think too much about, where they're going to be after, because, maybe they're in high school and then they're going to go to college. That's still another, even after they graduate, another 4 or 5 years where their parents are basically taking care of them. They don't have to care too much about their finances. And then, you get to the age where, in your mid-20s and you're sort of like, oh, shit, like I should have started when I was, much younger now. Like, what do I do?
Right. Yeah. Because if you essentially just live off your parents for the rest of your life, you're not going to, well, even right now, if you have the concept of just, I'm going to be okay, just relying on my parents, then you're very limited. And if you're limited, like you can't grow
Yeah.
In any aspect of life, not just business.
Early on, it's hard to say early on for you because we're oldie and,
No, my success it's very, very recent. Like I was very recent.
Okay.
It's very raw to me.
Okay. So, but there had to be some sort of, some sort of like context for that. So around what time in your life do you think that you became sort of like interested in the world of business and finance specifically?
It's a good question. Middle school, I guess. Wait, that was a lie. I don't know. Can I say I don't know?
Yeah.
Oh, I have no clue.
So it's some age around then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just watching what my father does and what other people do, what they do, it became very amusing. There's like a concept that if everyone else is in a certain area in life where if one person's making minimum wage, like everyone's going to end up doing that. But you could actually there's like a breakthrough point where you could go above it and you could actually do unlimited things, charity wise, philanthropy, business wise, not just making money, but so much good you could do for the world that people don't realize. The world's huge. A lot of it needs help. So if you get successful, that's my main goal. I really want to help out. I volunteer a lot. I think it's very important. That's what got me to I realized that it probably wouldn't be free giving charity because it's giving money. So that's what kind of drove me.
So why don't we talk a little bit more about, specifically what it is that, you could go as much into detail as you want, but a little bit more about specifically how you came to this, sort of, you said like more recent success. So
how it came about?
Yeah, so something to do with finance, right?
I'm an investor. I invest in the future. I got lucky a few times, but I invested in different cryptos. At the start, crypto's little shake. It's like a little unpredictable. Mm-hmm. So I kind of got out of that. I guess that you could say I invested in futures. And now I'm starting a fund. So that should be fun.
Do you think, would you recommend for someone to invest in crypto or no?
Crypto it could be profitable.
Yeah,
It could be very profitable.
it's
If you know what
very
you're doing.
it's very
It's not,
risky.
it's very risky. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's super risky because unlike the stock market, there's not like research you could do behind because
Yeah.
they're all very similar. There's not a lot of analyzing you could do for each crypto. So you either get lucky or you somehow know what you're doing. So I don't recommend it, but if you're good at it, you should take advantage of that.
Here's what I'm trying to understand the difference between, I guess, which is sort of a smart risk versus like a dumb risk. From the outside, they look basically exactly the same. So how would someone go about, especially in like finance, where with stocks, which are companies, there's research that you could do. It's different than crypto, but even that, I mean, a lot of it's driven by unpredictable things. So how does a person go about sort of figuring out from the outside before they go into if something is a smart risk or a dumb risk?
You're basically saying the word risk. You have to take the risk. You can't be scared. If you're scared, then you're not actually going to pull the trigger. If you don't pull the trigger, then nothing happens. And then you miss out. If you lose from it, then you should definitely take advantage of that. If you lose from it, if you somehow are able to view it as a win, then that's where you grow because every loss is a learning experience. If you lose and you blame others, if you blame it on the market, if you blame it on somebody else who did bad research, that's where you're really going to lose because you're never actually going to take accountability. But if you're able to realize what you did wrong and grow from it, sky's the limit.
Is that a problem that you think a lot of people our age have with just, starting because maybe they're scared of something, whether it's like real or not?
Yeah, accountability is tough for kids. It's confusing for some. They don't know what to do, what to say. They don't like being told that they did something wrong. So it's easy to blame the other guy. But if you're mature enough to realize that it was your fault or you took the risk and it didn't work out, then you'll become successful. But yeah, it's all about taking the risk, pulling the trigger. Obviously, do due diligence, know what you're doing, and it should work out in your favor.
It's interesting because I feel like there's these two sort of different groups. When it comes to investing, there's people who advocate for taking all these risks and basically hoping that a few of them turn out very well, even if the majority of them aren't going to. And then there are people who are more conservative and say, don't take on so much debt or don't invest in things you don't understand or, advice like that. So it seems you're very much in the camp of I'm going to take risks and hope that educated risks, but hope that at least a few of them work out.
I think more than others that kids, they're very creative. Some ideas are just plain out stupid. Some are very cool. Because you're stuck in this classroom and teacher's talking about who knows what. And you're just there. You're thinking, how do I get out of here? What do I do after this? That's the smart kids are thinking that. What am I going to do when I get out of here? How am I going to become successful? How am I going to raise my family? What am I going to do? Because it's fun to build something. So just running through your head millions of ideas. If you really work hard on that and you know what you're doing, if I was an investor and you presented me something, I would have no reason not to give you money to start it out. But you have to have like the courage to present what you came up with. You have to have the courage to ask. You have to have the courage to basically say, this is what I'm going to do. This is how it's going to work. And I'd love for you to invest in. I would be foolish not to.
I mean, you're doing all the things you're doing now. I mean, you invested in crypto and all that stuff, and now you're starting a fund, and you're still in high school. I mean, it's probably very hard to balance those two things. Would you say that there are certain things from school that have helped you in business, or is it just two completely separate things?
No, I think I learned a few things in school. One of them being accountability. But school's very limited. I'm not going to lie. It's very limited. I understand why it's necessary. If you have somebody along the way, I have a few partners for different things I do. If you're working with educated people, it should work out. They all went to school, but they all agree that to an extent, if you're not doing a certain job, you probably don't need to be there. College part, you shouldn't be a loser and just drop out of high school. Makes no sense. It's kind of necessary to just grow. You also need that social balance. It's important to meet people, to know how to act around them, or else you look like an idiot. So I think that's important.
What would you say to someone who's in high school right now and saying, oh, this is all bullshit. I don't really need this. I'm going to finish and I'm going to drop out, or I'm not going to go to college and I don't need to do any of that stuff. I'm just going to go, straight into working or straight into starting business. would you say that college is something that is that most people need?
I would say they're probably right, unless the kid's really like stupid. Like if you have no plan and you just want to drop out and smoke weed all day, then by all means do that, but you're not going to go anywhere. If you have a plan, if you know what you're doing, if you could tell that you're smarter than the kids around you, do not go to college. There's no point. You'll be wasting. I mean, I can't speak for. I mean, from the people I've spoken to, from the partners who are much older than me, they told me this. My father advises against it if it's unnecessary. Like college is not what it used to be.
Yeah.
It used to be a totally different type of institution. Now it's just makes no sense to go. You could get a PhD and whatever and still end up with no job. It's not guaranteed. That's a risk you should not take. If you have a plan, if you know what you're doing, if you're educated, get out of there. If you're passionate to be a doctor, good for you. Go for it. But I really don't see the need for it.
I mean, we're both pretty young. It's pretty rare for people our age to be in sort of this world, I guess. And it makes a lot of older people uncomfortable when younger people talk about it. I guess it's sort of something that becomes like taboo at a certain point to, talk about how you got successful. Everyone, when you're young, wants to know how they did it. And then by the time that they've made it, they don't really want to talk about it so much either. What would you say is like one of the biggest, I guess, lies that the older generation tells us about money and success when we're young?
That you should, that it's going to take a while to get. That's not true. From personal experience and from experience of others, it's very easy to make money if you try really hard. If you work very hard, like in a day, you could do very well, but nothing's guaranteed. So don't go in blindly, just assuming it's all going to work out. Again, if you're educated, if you're smart, if you're not an idiot, you could do very well in one day, and then you'll be doing much better than people 30 years older than you who took them years to do because they didn't have access to what kids have today. They have this old-fashioned way of thinking, which is if I work hard on the same thing every day, I'll be fine. But if you diversify, which I'm big on, diversification, and less money to be made.
Before you're talking about, investing in the future, stuff like that. And, the thing that everyone's talking about right now when it comes to the future is obviously AI. And I think AI is sort of this thing it's a big equalizer for a lot of people who are younger because, I mean, using a tool like, some sort of coding tool, AI coding tool, you can build a business in, a few hours or a few days, like weeks at most, with very little money. And you can go out there and do that. So, like in a world where basically everyone can do that, the landscape for business is very different than it was for people who are, our parents or our grandparents. So that might be why they think more like conservatively and, in that sense.
I agree.
If someone our age or maybe a year or two younger than us came to you and asked you for advice, like, oh, I have some money and I want to start trading or something like that, like something related to crypto or finance, what would you tell them?
Get a second opinion because you're probably wrong. The market is very tricky. If you go in alone, you're going to end up being one of these guys that sells a course and they're not actually making money from the market, making money from the courses because they're in this alone. They're doing their own research. A second opinion is so valuable and you could get it for cheap. Doesn't cost much. A third opinion is even more and so on. If you grow your team, if you have more people behind you, you just have so much knowledge that it becomes impossible to get misinformation. Because if you're doing this alone, you probably aren't getting the whole pie. So yeah, just find another person that's educated. If they agree with you, perfect. Find another person. Find somebody that disagrees with you. Ask them why. Learn from it. And then if you have like a team that all did research on it and they think it's a good stock, go for it. Buy it. I'll pay any amount of money for a second opinion. Even I have some people like who I'll ask to write reports on something just so I could read it and learn more about it because they probably know more than me.
Yeah.
And then I do that before I invest my own money into something because I probably don't know everything what's going on with it. So yeah, it's important.
So why don't we just maybe, you don't have to, I mean, you could answer to the best of your ability, obviously, but you can test your sort of knowledge a bit, I guess, in the markets and stuff like that. So right now, the market's at like an all-time high, basically, mostly driven by, AI investment, things like that. Do you think it's real, the value that's being created in America right now in the economy, or do you think it's just sort of hype that isn't really there?
As a sense to what the market,
Yeah. Like, do you think AI is like there's a bubble coming?
possibly. I think as opposed to what like in context with '08.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Or
I think it's
2001.
overhyped. It could be. There's a what I think is might cause a crash is there's there AI is good, but there's a lot of it right now. There's like 1,000 different companies all doing the exact same thing, and they're all getting valued at crazy evaluations. Do I think they're actually worth that? I have no clue. I'm not an expert on it, but the whole market being surrounded by AI, it's not healthy. In my perspective, it's not good that the whole market's just focused on AI right now. There's 1,000 other companies that are very important to everyday life that this country is built on that the world is all using. So I'm not saying they're getting neglected, but AI taking over in a sense is just not ideal. So it's possible that these overvaluations could cause the fall of the market in the coming future, but I have no clue. That's my view.
A lot of what's happening in America right now. I mean, more and also investment by the government into all of these companies, all the government contracts, stuff like that. I mean, America as a country is growing its deficit by a lot, and I think the old generation isn't like as concerned with that because they're on their way out, I guess, and they're not going to see the full consequences of the amount of debt that we have now, the amount of debt that we owe to countries like China, which we don't want them to have that sort of power over us. So, like from the perspective of a young investor who still has like a their whole future basically ahead of them to be in working in the markets and working in America. Are you optimistic for the future of the American economy?
Yeah, I don't plan on moving, so I hope so. But I do know people that invest in other economies from different countries because everyone in the US really thinks that we're the greatest country. We might be, we may not be, but like the world is not behind us. So I would say, again, diversify if you can. Other countries are doing incredible things that we're not even able to do yet. Yeah, that's my view on it.
Is there something that you've learned about like money and risk and stuff like that that you think that they should teach in school that they don't?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of things they should teach in school that they don't. Risk management's one, diversification's one, paying your taxes is one. It's all things that are important that are just going to hit you right away when you get out of high school. If there was a class for it, I would definitely join it. You don't want to get taken advantage of when you get out of high school because you're uneducated on it. You don't want to mess up because you don't know what you're doing. You don't want to give your money to someone that you shouldn't. There's terrible investments out there, terrible ones that you should definitely avoid. But some kids are just not educated on it and they get sucked up into it. So if there was a professor or someone who knew what they were doing and has experience with it and they were able to teach a class, I would definitely recommend joining it.
Yeah, I think there's definitely a lot of kids who'd probably sign up for something like that because, I mean, if you go online right now and you look at like sort of the inspirational sort of hype part of the internet when it comes to business, a lot of it is like centered around like financial stuff like day trading. So like what's your opinion on like young kids like day trading like with whatever little money on Robinhood or something like that?
Sorry, what? Can you repeat that?
Yeah, sure. So a lot of people would probably sign up for a class like what you're just talking about because there's a lot of people super young who think that their way to get rich very fast, very cheap is through trade, like day trading, something like that. So, what's your perspective on that?
To be honest, my full honest opinion is you probably won't make money because you lack capital. To make real money that'll actually change you, it needs to be at such a large scale that for kids, you don't have bills to pay, you don't have taxes to pay, you don't have anything really much to pay. So making $200 here and there, that'll excite you. But once you get out of high school, like to be honest, it's expensive. So you need to make real money and you need to make it fast. So capital is important. And again, education's important, or else you're just going to invest in something stupid. Robinhood's cool, but they're not going to give you a green arrow to tell you what to buy. Just be educated and talk to people. Like if I was much older and there was a kid that came to me and he was interested in investing, he knew what he was doing and he had a full report. Like I said earlier, he wanted to invest in something, but he didn't have the capital. I would definitely do it because I know he's a kid, probably doesn't have the money and he wants to grow. I would invest. But to invest $200 here and there on your Robinhood account, it's not going to last. You're going to mess up once. It's going to cause you to get mad and emotional. And then emotions, when you mix that with investing in money, it just messes everything up. So don't do it. Find someone. Network. I know that word gets thrown around a lot. People love to say the word network. I don't know if they're saying it correctly, but just talk to people that know what they're doing.
So, I mean, for people our age who, maybe would be interested in making money, and so even if it's not like a crazy amount of money, because it's like not, I guess, so realistic for everybody. But what would you say is like something that's a young person can do that's accessible to most people in a way that maybe like trading isn't, that they could become like at least like relatively successful in?
Kids are very into flipping, which is just like buying something for really cheap.
Yeah.
Selling that for high. But again, you have to do that at a large scale. I would just highly recommend investing. It doesn't have to be in stocks. It could be in anything. You can invest in a watch. You can invest in shoes. You can invest in anything that has value and you foresee it to have a large value in the future. That's something you can invest in. You can invest in someone. You can give them money and just be like.
So, I mean, what you were saying before, if you were much older and you had a kid come to you who, like, you thought had all the right information in front of him and was ready to start something like that, you might invest in them. A lot of people, I feel like older people, just sort of might underestimate younger people. Do you think that age has anything to do with whether you can be successful or not?
No, not at all. I'm not even 18 yet. I'll be 18 soon. And I've been able to meet many people that are very successful and they don't view me any differently for being my age. They treat me the same. All you have to have is education and not sound stupid, know what you're talking about, and you will get far. Age, after a certain age, like 15, 14, you mature. After you mature, you are able to grow. And I think after that, like, nobody's going to view you differently than as opposed to a 30-year-old guy.
Or at least, they might, but like at least they shouldn't, you're saying.
For me, I haven't viewed anyone that's like, you're too young to do this. More successful situations than people that are much older than me. Some people I've met that are older than me, they're just really stupid. Yeah, if you're young and you know what you're doing and you're ambitious, you'll be successful. I don't see any problem with it.
So there's like a part of success and, like intelligence in general, I guess, that can come from, wisdom. So like over the years, you've just learned certain things, but then there's also a lot that you can get from a very early age if you want it.
Take advantage of your father. He's most likely much smarter than you. He's been where you were. He's probably built something from it. And if you could learn from that, if you could take away from that, you could learn from his mistakes. You can grow from that. And he'll 100% help you along the way. He wants you to be better. He wants you to grow. Your father is probably your best investor, whether he invests his time or his knowledge or even his money. He's your best friend. So take advantage of it.
When someone is going into investing, which is the thing that you said that you recommend for people to get into, I mean, obviously there's a bit of bias there, but because that's what you did. But what do you think right now in the markets, just in general, is the biggest thing that people should be paying attention to?
I think polymarket's cool. I think that whole concept of prediction, because the media will say one thing, some other person will say one thing, your neighbor will say one thing about what's going to happen in a day from now, in a week from now, in a year from now. Before all this, you would just have to agree with them because you could disagree with them, but there would be no platform to actually make money off of it. Here you can. So I think it's very cool. I think if you're educated on something and you disagree with it, go for it. Take advantage of that. take advantage of other people's stupidity. It could be profitable. Don't go into blindly though. It's a risk. Learn how to manage it. But yeah, it's a very profitable market.
I guess in sort of industries, places like this, especially like where most people, younger people, would go to get advice, which is TikTok or something like that. There's a lot of different opinions on how people should invest and what people should do. What do you think is like the most overrated sort of like a money advice on the internet? I guess on TikTok or wherever else young people might go to get some insight into like trading or whatever stuff like this, Polymarket or Robinhood. There's a lot of different opinions on what people should be investing in, or like secret hacks that the rich people use, stuff like that. Like there's a lot of videos like that. What do you think is like one of the most like overrated things that people say about money that's just like maybe it's true, maybe it's not true, but it's like overrated?
Oh yeah, courses. Courses are BS. You won't make money. I was foolish enough to buy one in 8th grade. Either I was too lazy to do it or it actually just doesn't work. It's all BS. If somebody's selling a course, that's how they make money. Because if they had the opportunity to make money from something, they wouldn't just sell it. They would just take advantage of it and make money from that. There's a lot of them out there. They're they're shifty. So you have to be careful from that. But day trading is stupid. Many people say this, but you won't find a billionaire day trader because it just doesn't exist. Because their assessment of risk just makes no sense. How they allocate their money also makes no sense. So that's overrated.
When people are coming out of high school or they're around our age, a lot of people feel now that everything is more expensive than it was for our parents. School, but also, just barrier to entry for a lot of things like stocks, for example. I mean, during certain economic crashes in the past, you would have been able to buy shares of a company for pennies on the dollar, basically. And now the government and the older generation sort of just comes in and bails these people out so the prices don't collapse in the same way that they used to. So do you think that when young people say, oh, it was much easier for our parents, much harder for us now, everything's more expensive now, do you think that's like valid?
No, I think that's complete BS. Everyone could argue that everything was cheaper back then, but you're also getting paid much less back then. As prices gone up, so has pay. Whether it's minimum wage or it's just your normal salary, people weren't making 80 to whatever X amount of money, thousands a year back then. They're making hundreds of dollars a week. I have a partner that came from Israel. He skipped most of high school. He came with nothing. He didn't even come with his family. They stayed there. He came and he was shining shoes for $300 a week. And he was able to grow from that. And now he's very, very successful, owning many different businesses. Same thing with my grandfather. But even back then, everything was cheaper because you were getting paid much less. Yeah. The economy was much different. Now it's all so that's just a cheap excuse to just be the victim, which is just sad. You're lazy, so you don't make money, so you cry. Sorry, stuff is expensive. Just work harder. Then magically it won't be as expensive as it was before.
So you don't think there's any truth to it?
I mean, stuff has gone up. Gas, I guess. But there's a lot of government benefits that, I don't want to say less fortunate, but the lower class get that other people don't get because I guess they need it. But they have every opportunity to become successful. Even if you're 60 right now, even if you're 50, 40, 18, you have every chance. You have the same chance as somebody else. Just because you don't know as many people it's not a fair excuse. Go out and meet them. Go out and try at least. Say that you tried before you cry about your eggs costing too much money.
Yeah. One of the issues that I pick now with like modern college, university is that they've sort of turned themselves into almost like, I guess you could say like luxury brands. They don't really care about education as much anymore. It's just the prestige of the school. In these types of institutions in education, it's often like it's made very important that we identify the kids who are freakishly special and are going to be able to become unicorn companies. And sort of just, especially at like the top universities, and sort of just filter out the people who might have the chance of becoming, millionaires in their lifetime, but not, billionaires, because that's a lot harder. Do you think that everyone can be successful, or do you think because of the way capitalism works, there are people who won't be able to do it?
I think everyone has a good chance. I don't think everyone has a fair chance. I'll be realistic. If you're brought up a certain way around certain people, you will have an advantage that most people don't. But everyone has a chance. There's unlimited money in the world because they just keep printing it. But even if they didn't, there's a lot of money out there to be made. Believe it or not, you can make more than you are packing food in grocery bags. There's unlimited jobs out there. You just have to go and get it. But yeah, I agree. There are some kids who have, I don't want to say privilege, but different opportunities because of how they're raised and who they're brought up with. But kids who weren't brought up that way, they still have a chance to be in the exact same position, maybe even better.
This may be like a little bit controversial, I guess, coming from a younger person who hasn't like done it yet. But if you were giving advice to like a parent who was wondering maybe something that they could like instill in their kids, like raise their kids in some way to like turn out successful in some way, what would you say is like an important thing for a young kid to have to like in their environment, I guess, or something that a parent can try to teach them that would raise their chances of being successful?
Educate them, because if you know that your child isn't getting the right finance education in school, tell them what you know. Don't hold back. Don't be afraid that they're too young to understand what's going on. Start them off young. Let them get ahead of everyone else so they can get different opportunities.
This podcast is called the Step One Podcast, and like practically what that means is, giving people more practical, actionable advice. So I'm going to ask this question to everyone. You could answer it however you want to answer it. But for somebody listening right now who's exactly where maybe you or me were when we started, or in a similar position, knows not that much. I mean, maybe they have some good education, but they don't know that much, and don't have that much. Maybe what is something that they can like do, like tomorrow, to like get started on something?
Just reach out. You could even reach out to me. I'll be open to hearing anything you have. I'll never turn anyone away if they have an idea, unless it's really bad. But just reach out. If you know somebody's successful and they're ambitious, they probably will be open to hearing what you have to say. Again, like I said before, if you have an opinion on something and you're able to profit off that, go for it. Find the way. There's just so many ways. Just profit off your skill. Some kids are able to do things others can't. Find the way to make money off of it. If you're good at sports, take advantage of that. You could start a channel, bringing games together, or you could even tutor someone if you're smarter than others. You could teach kids how to become better at whatever skill you're good at. That's what I would say for kids. If you're an adult, don't do that. Get a job. But that's how you should start. But if you're really, really ambitious and you want to invest in something, reach out to somebody who has the ability to help you out. Anyone.
Okay. We have a closing tradition on this podcast. The last question. It's basically somebody, they don't know who they were asking this to, so however you can answer it would be fine. I mean, answer it. But it's a question that someone maybe around our age, maybe a little bit younger, a little bit older, they submitted their question on our website, which anyone could submit a question if you want me to ask a guest at thesteponepodcast.com. But they submitted a question, and just for one of the guests, I don't know who they're asking, so answer however you want. But the question for you, what's the hardest part of everything that you've done? And I don't mean money stuff. Like, what's genuinely tough about being in what you're in?
Definitely religion, I want to say. Just balancing that. I'm religious, but just finding a way to understand where it all comes from. Obviously, it all comes from God, but if you're able to realize that not just the winnings, but also the losses come from God, then you truly know what's going on. Just emotions in general. Don't let them overtake you. Keep calm. And it's important. Definitely important.
Okay, well, that's it for today. So thank you for taking the time to come here and talk to me. I really appreciate it.
Of course.
Yeah.